Okay, here's the 23 we're going to be playing. I think this deck came together very well. It's going to be a very nice, strong, solid red-green aggressive deck here. Basically, the reason why I'm running one of the Glade Scouts is because we have so much Bloodthirst that we need to trigger that I think running one is okay, since we want to play a one-drop if possible. And that really just kind of, just pushes us into more and more Bloodthirst, which then will hopefully win us the game. A few things that I chose not to do here. We're not going to be running the Thran Golem. The reason is all we have is Trollhide. We do have the Fire Breathing, but you don't really want to run this card main. And with just one aura, I don't really see the Thran Golem getting there. Also decided to put the Plummet in the sideboard, just because we have double Stinger Fling. We do have the Crocodile, so I feel like we're going to have a decent chance against that kind of deck. And we could just outrace them also. But, I mean, we can certainly sideboard into the Plummet if needed. Part of the other reason I didn't run the Plummet main is because we just want to have a large amount of creatures so that our overrun is more and more powerful. So I think that really pushing that for the first game is going to be big. We've got the Vandal for sideboard purposes if we see any kind of artifacts. Swiftfoot Boots, just not good enough here. We have a few late cards, like the Rhino and the Gorger, but the Stingerfling Spiders both have a 2 power, and there's no reason for them to have haste. So we already have, the Dungrove Elder and the Glade Scout already have hexproof, so kind of redundant there. I think that Hunter's Insight is going to be a very good card in this deck, and we're going to go with, let's see, I think we're going to go with 9-8 with one more green just due to the overrun. We do really want the early red, so I think 9-8 is going to work pretty well. So we are going to see you for round 1. Okay, so here we are for round 1. Hopefully we have a decent hand. This is definitely a deck we're going to want to go first with. Playing the extra land, making sure we have 17, is in an attempt to, make sure we can have a smooth opening hand on the play. If we were, expecting to have a deck where we were, maybe going to be doing some drawing as opposed to playing, we might look at it as like a 16 land deck. Once again, the mana curve in this format is shifted much farther to the left, just because creatures, need to be cheaper to be more either defensive or aggressive in the early game. So, playing less land in this format is very valuable. The old, always play 17 rule can really be changed and bent a little bit. Okay, so here we are. This hand looks amazing. We're, set up to do a turn 1 Slinger into turn 2 Stormblood into turn 3 Dungrove Elder, so could not be happier with this opening hand. And it looks like our opponent is down to 6 cards, so hopefully we can get our Stormblood active. He's down to 5. This is going to be, hopefully a very good game for us. Okay, so we have the late game overrun plan with enough mana. Here we really want to start playing our forest just to make sure we can pump up our Dungrove Elder. So, just go ahead and ping him. Just to make sure nothing funny happens and we get our Stormblood online. Yep, and that is fine. So now we're in a very good place. Okay. And here we're happy to drop our Dungrove Elder. And the turn after that we can drop the Companion and the Piker, and the turn after that we can overrun, and if we draw the green, and really close out this game. I mean, this is how we want this deck to be operating every game. We could even put a Troll Hide on this guy right now, but I'd rather just play 2 creatures. So, since there are no sweepers to be afraid of, seems like the play. And I mean, if we draw a forest here, it's essentially a good game. So this is the power of the early push. I think every single deck is going to have to be aware and be ready for this kind of early push. Otherwise, you know, even if you have a higher card quality, you will just lose. Okay, so here, get his Hunter Insight, get some cards. I like that play. And I suppose we'll want to tap our red, just in case. So, like, I mean, he could have, like, a Ring Flesh here, but, yeah, and that's it. Okay, so mono black, Sorin's Thirst, and Vampires. Typically not going to see too many flyers. I mean, we might see, like, a Sengir Vampire, or potentially, like a Devouring, or Plague Swarm? Devouring Swarm? One of those two. But I think that, do we want to bring any cards in here? Let's see. Not sure I really want to change much here. Like, I suppose we could potentially bring in, like, Thran Golem, but I mean, I suppose we could change out Stinger Fling Spider for Thran Golem, and then if we just get the Troll Hide, it's just over. Or you know, maybe bring in. We could potentially, like, bring in, like, a Slaughter Cry. I think actually we're pretty much set the way we are right now. I don't see any real reason to change much here. Like, I suppose we could bring in a Manic Vandal over a Stinger Fling Spider, but I mean, if he has, you know, one of those black bombs like the Runescar Demon or Sengir Vampire, I mean, there are flyers in black, so we'll just leave it as is. This hand is interesting. We certainly have removal. I mean, we can draw into green. I don't know. This is kind of a questionable hand. I think part of the reason I'm considering this hand is because we are up a game, we are on the draw. So I think that, you know, having removal for his early stuff will allow us to, you know, get back into the game. So I'm more willing to try it. I think I'm going to give it a whirl. Could be wrong. It might be correct to, you know, mulligan this hand, but it could just pay off for us too. Now, to the best of my knowledge, there are no black creatures for 2 mana. Oh, I suppose there's the Duskhunter Bat, so. Probably just going to shock this right here. Because this is just going to turn on his guys, like the Vampire later, so we're fine just getting rid of it. We also want to have time to sort of build up a potential defense. So definitely just running out the Berserkers here. This can turn on some of our later cards, like if we can, you know, get some other land down, potentially Gorkhorn Minotaurs. It's unfortunate he's not a 3/3, but I mean, it gives us some more options. And definitely just going to be trading with Onyx Mage if given the chance. So we really need to draw into some green here to try to get back in this game. And that actually is not the worst. Now we're happy to attack with our Stormblood. But our Incinerate's going to have to do a lot of work if we can't find some green soon. Yep, and very happy to trade here. Most likely he has Gravedigger, I would imagine. Like, there doesn't really seem to be any other reason to play that. Yeah, so he's got the Gravedigger. Okay. Still bashing in. Just really hoping to draw some mana here soon. Like, if he's tapped out and we have the ability to push through a Piker, if we draw like a green, there's a very good chance we're just going to Hunter's Insight, if it's safe. So here, hopefully he doesn't have the second Gravedigger. If he does, it's very bad for us, because then we just are essentially recycling cards. Oof. Not happy to see that. I don't think we have time to give him the chance for, like, stave off, so we need to kill that now. And just really need to get some green mana going here. Okay, and he has so much graveyard recursion. The one nice thing about it is it is buying us a lot of time, just because he's, you know, slowly recurring his graveyard. So if we can potentially draw the land, we can maybe get out of this. But just not drawing land here. And at this point we have over a 40% chance to draw land, so... Or over a 50% chance to draw land. Okay, it's looking bad for our heroes here. Yeah. Might be too late at this point to pull this one out. Gonna have to draw very well for us to have a chance of getting back into this game. So let's go ahead and take the time to look at what our outs are. It's always nice to have a copy of your deck list just available in your deck editor. That way you can see exactly what you're drawing to if you have any chance of getting out of the game, you know, what your outs are. We are pretty much screwed at this point. Assuming that he plays well. And we continue to draw no land. At this point, we are going to keep playing because we just want to see what kind of cards he has. So the more cards he plays, the more information we get. I mean, this match is over, or this game is over, but hopefully we can see some of the things he's playing. Man, the statistical chance of us not drawing land for, I believe, 10 turns is pretty low, considering we've been at over 50% chance to draw for the last 7 turns. So that is going to do it. We do not want to show him the overrun. So at this point, we are a little bit up on time. You always want to see, in what possible ways can I win the match. Now, there's a very good chance this is not going to go to time, but it has happened, and it's good to keep in mind. So we're just going to drop one of these here. So any possible advantage that you have, you need to make sure you're keeping track of. Whether it's information, time, yeah. And that's all she wrote. Okay, so we saw some flyers. With white, there's a good chance he's playing a decent number of flyers. Plummet is probably going to come in. And what cards can we cut here? Crocodile's not amazing, but it's still fine. A 3/3 is still very strong. So I think at this point, I'm actually going to go ahead and cut the scout. We need the plummet pretty badly, and give this a whirl. If we give him enough time to just infinitely recur his graveyard, it can definitely be a problem. But hopefully we just get the aggressive push. That's not going to do it. It's a better draw. This is a pretty weak hand, but at least we have our mana. So hopefully worst case scenario on turn 5 we can shock him and then play Gorhorn Minotaurs. Not a hand I'm super happy to keep, but I think it's going to give us a decent chance. We do have a pretty high creature count, so I think we're about 15 to 16 creatures, so decent chance we'll draw into some creatures, but yeah. Last game may have been better to ship that hand. Definitely agony not drawing any land for 11 turns. Okay, so this hand is fine. Looks like we are in the play. Once again, hopefully draw some kind of action next turn. Yep, that's fine. It's not fine, but it's acceptable. So we really hope he doesn't have the Vampire Outcasts here. It would definitely be pretty rough if he did. Oh, never mind, he's got 3 land. Yep. Still going to wait here. We definitely want to be shocking and then playing Gorhorn Minotaurs, so no reason just to run him.